I discovered my love for music at a very young age. I remember being like 8 or 9 years old, and my brother and sister would be in the basement just rapping to different people's instrumentals. And one day I heard them and ran down there, and I said, "Oh, I want to do it, I want to do it." And then my brother wrote my very first rap. And I don't know what it was, but it just like lit a spark inside of me. I mean, from the songs on the radio and the rap that he wrote for me, I was like, I want to be a rapper. And at the time, I was already dancing. I started dancing since the age of 3 years old. Eventually, I started modeling. And I was like, I want to be known as the girl that does it all. I want to be an overall entertainer. But I knew I wanted to be a rapper. So eventually, I turned 11, 12 years old, and then I found out that I could record my own music on the computer that we had at home. Oh, it was trouble then. I mean, I'm talking about I locked myself in the office, and from sun up to sundown, I could not stop. I'm just recording and writing and recording and writing. And it got so bad that my mom would be knocking on the office door like, "Nia, have you done your homework?" And I'm like, "Mom, that can wait. I'm recording right now." Like, it was that serious. But I just knew I wanted to be a rapper. And then eventually, I accumulated so much music over the years, so much. And I was like, dang. I turned 16, and I told my mom, I said, "Mom, I need a manager." And she was like, "Nia, what do you mean you need a manager? You have never performed your music." And I'm like, well, duh, that's the point. I need somebody to help me get performances. So I had no luck finding a manager over the years. So you know what I did? I took all of the music that I made and accumulated, and I said, listen, I'm gonna reach out to these people myself. I reached out to every DJ and everybody that owned a club. I'm like, listen, get me in there, I wanna perform. And mind you, I'm only like 16, but eventually I performed at almost every lounge in the DC area. I was a hustler. Thank you. I was a hustler. I was like, listen, I wanna be a star, I gotta do this. So I started getting so much attention with my music. I mean, I got attention from Jermaine Dupri. I got called for a TV show called The Rap Game. Then I got called for another TV show with Diddy and DJ Khaled called The Four. And then I got called for another TV show with Cardi B and Chance the Rapper. And guess what? They called me first, and I didn't get on none of those shows. I'm like, how the heck y'all gonna call me and not put me on the show? So I'm very confused, but I didn't let it discourage me. And then eventually my friend was like, Nia, you should submit your music to the Whammies. I didn't know what the Whammies was, but he was like, it's the DMV's version of the Grammys. Like, the trophies were fire. I looked at the trophy, I said, oh yeah, I'm gonna need one of those. So I submitted my music, and at this time, I'm about like 21. It's 2019. I just dropped a bomb project. I'm like, sure, let me submit my music. So I did. I submitted my music, and then here we go. 2020, they announced the award show for the Whammies. I'm super excited, and then guess what? It gets canceled due to COVID. Okay, I don't let it discourage me. They said we're gonna do a live stream on YouTube. Okay, boom. So me and my family, we get all dressed up. We gather around in the family room. We super excited. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to get one of these. My family like, Nia, you've been working too hard. I know you're gonna get an award. So we gather around in the family room. We sit down, and here we go. Nominations for Best Rap Artist. They say everybody's name but mine. Then nominations for Best Rap Song. Everybody's name but mine. And then nominations for Best Rap Album. Everybody's name but mine. At this point, I'm pissed. I don't want to talk to nobody. At this point, I feel like music is just not for me. I mean, I get up, I go upstairs, I slam the door. I'm like, music is not for me. And then I'm like, Nia, all of these years of hard work, why would you give up? And it was one of those moments where I was just like, you don't know if God is testing you. Is God telling you to give up, or is God trying to see how bad that you want it? So I'm like, yeah, I can't give up. And then eventually, after 2020, of course, 2021 comes, and then I drop a new project. this year I'm celebrating my 10-year mark of doing music. So I call my project, thank you. I call my project 10,000 hours. They say when you do something for 10,000 hours, you become a pro at it. So 10,000 hours just dropped, and it's getting a lot of love. But in 2021, I'm going through a lot. I mean, breakups and just so much more just like crashing down on me. I end up cutting my hair off. It grew back a little bit on the top, but I cut my hair off. I get a new tattoo on my neck. I feel like a new woman, and I nominate myself again for the Whammies because I'm like, don't give up on yourself. Like, you work too hard. And then 2022 comes, and then I'm feeling like a new woman. I got my new haircut. I got this tattoo on my neck. And then the award show was actually happening this year. So guess what? We stormed that award show. I'm talking about we walking in there with the pink on. I got my new custom pink suit on. My family got their pink outfits on. And I'm feeling good. I'm like, listen, y'all not going to play me like that this year. Like, we really going to do this. So we walking in there, and as soon as we get in there, on the TV screen, the winner for Best Rap Song, 10 Freestyle, goes to Nia Monet. It was me. It was me. I won my very first award, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And my mom's like, no, you didn't, no, you didn't. I'm like, Mom, they said if you on that screen, you won. So I'm like so excited. And then the award show actually happens. We go in there, we sit down, and then they announce Best Rap Album, Nia Monet, 10,000 Hours. Guess what, y'all? And then they announce Best Rap Artist, Nia Monet again. I mean, I won every category, and at this point, I'm crying, I'm bawling, I'm like, oh my gosh. So in those moments where we feel like God doesn't hear us and we just want to give up, God always hears us and God always sees us. And here I am today, a 3-time Grammy Award-winning artist, and my name is Nia Monet, also known as Pink Money. Thank you.
So I'm in the bathroom, just staring at the blood in my underwear like a total failure because it's just another month that I can't get pregnant. I can't believe this. I mean, I've been trying for over 2 years, and I'm pissed. And I go storming out of the bathroom to confront my husband, and I announce, well, the big news is there's no news. I'm not pregnant, again. And he says, Whitney, you have got to relax. It will happen. Relax? Did you just tell me to relax? Did you not just hear me say that I just got my period? I'm the last person you should be telling to relax. But in the back of my mind, I know he's right. If I don't find a way to calm the fuck down, this is never gonna happen. So I say, Keith, I'm sorry. I am just so stressed and so miserable, I can feel my body shutting down. I cannot conceive in this house. I've got to get out of here. So 3 weeks later, over a single ovulating weekend, we're now at a 5-star hotel in my very favorite city in the entire world, New Orleans, Louisiana. Ow, yes. Well done, Keith. But what you need to know about my husband is that he's from Potomac, Maryland, which is a very intellectual, very appropriate city. And Keith is a good, conservative, buttoned-up attorney. So it's not actually that surprising that as soon as we set foot in the room, Mr. Potomac is already a little bit aroused. And he's starting to pull off his jacket like, so, you ready? No, actually, I'm not ready. See, I'm a little different. I need more than just beautiful surroundings to get me wet. So I said, hey, what do you say we just walk around the red light district? I mean, as long as we're here. And he said, well, okay, sure. So we're walking along and we see the brothels and the bars, and all of a sudden I see this little strip club. And I say to Keith, you know what, why don't we head in there? I mean, just to get us in the mood. And he's like, seriously? Now, he looks uncomfortable, but he's not unwilling. I mean, at this stage, it is all about keeping Whitney calm and happy. So he says, absolutely, let's go. So we head in there, and I find us a table right up next to the stage. And this place is perfect. It's small, it's intimate. There's just a few dancers up on the stage, and it's so casual, they're just chatting with the customers. But one dancer in particular catches my eye, Crystal. She has this long blonde hair and these blue eyes, and she's just dancing right in front of our table, and she just looks so happy. And I lean over to Keith and I say, you know, no one would ever pay me to strip. And all of a sudden, Kristen stops dancing, and she looks me right in the eyes, and she says, well, of course they would, sugar. Why don't you come on up here with me? Me? Really? I am so excited, I just immediately stand up. And Keith is like, wait, what are you doing? Well, I don't know, I'm just having a little fun. Let's just see where this goes. And he grabs my hand and he says, Whitney, look, I know that you have been really depressed, but let's not do something reckless here. Remember, you are a licensed attorney. Are you kidding me? I haven't practiced law in years, and anyway, I'm not licensed in Louisiana. So I'm walking over to the stage, and look, I know he doesn't want me to do this, but I so badly want to. I mean, we're here to make a baby, and well, maybe I just want him to remember me the way I was when we first got married. I was funny and sexy and bold and, well, the truth is, I've always had this feeling that I would make an amazing stripper. So I go and I get up on the stage with Crystal, and we start moving. And this is the release that I need. And I am letting my hips sway. Ow! And I am taking my hair down. And I am like, woo! Yes! And I look over at Keith, and the poor guy is just holding his head in his hands like, no. But he's laughing. He has a great sense of humor, and he knows me. But the next thing I know, I'm getting tips. Yes. Random men and women in the audience are holding up like $5 bills and $10 bills. And I am so excited because I knew it. I am killing it up here. Look, I haven't even had a sip of alcohol to drink, but I am like drunk with happiness. So I go over to collect my earnings, and I look over at Keith, and he's staring at me like, what the fuck? Well, we agreed on a 2-income household. I mean, maybe this is what it looks like. So he stands up and he says, all right, hot pants, this has been fun, but come on, let's go, we're leaving. Well, good, because now I'm ready. So we leave the strip club and we're walking up the street, and Keith says, I think it's high time we head back to the hotel. But I'm feeling a little bit frisky. And I say, no, let's do it here, now. Come on, we're in the red light district. Take me out behind the strip club and let's make this happen. Look, I am feeling lucky. For the first time in months, I can actually feel the heat coming up on my body, and I don't want to lose this moment. And Keith stops and he's like, and he looks around, and he says, all right, come on. And he takes me out behind the strip club, and oh, it was marvelous. All 30 seconds of it. Now, I know what you all want to know, which is, did it work? Well, last month, we celebrated our daughter's 17th birthday. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, my beautiful, darling, innocent little Cassie, or, as it's formally recorded on her birth certificate, Cassandra Louisiana Rubin.
I was born and raised on Long Island, New York, but it never felt like home. I hate clams. I never even had an accent, so when I left at 19, I didn't look back. Though I did manage to connect with a few classmates over the years. Daryl is one of my best friends. Jean, Laura, Stacy were all friends that I connected with over the years. So when Jean died suddenly last summer and Laura organized a party on Long Island to say goodbye, of course I was going. I was nervous about it though because there were other people going who didn't know I existed when we were kids. But by the end of the night, Tommy and I are hugging it out, Robbie and I are Facebook friends, and Laura and I are peas in a pod. The next morning, I'm sitting in a restaurant overlooking the bay, having this warm, fuzzy moment about the night before, when it suddenly occurs to me that I'm sitting not too far from where my rapist lives. And that's it. The time has come for me to get the closure I didn't get when I was 14. He groomed me for 2 years before he raped me at 14. He was 22 and a cop. So I paid my bill and I got in the car to drive to his house. Thank you. I strangled the steering wheel as I drove to his house, running the scenarios of what was going to happen when I got there, none of which involved him actually standing at the front door of his house when I pulled up. And yet that's exactly where he was. I panicked and drove off. But by the time I got to the end of the street, my inner 14-year-old was yelling at me to turn around and go back. So I did. I'm now standing at the end of his driveway, and he's walking towards me. I can't feel my legs. And at first, he doesn't recognize me. But when he does recognize me, he invites me to have a seat with him on his front porch. The woman you raped when she was a little girl just showed up at your house, and you want to make this a social call? It's strange, but I wasn't thinking straight and I didn't have a plan, so I followed him. For a long time, I've had a bubble around me to protect me from him. It kept a lot of good people out too, but at least I was safe from him. All that therapy and all that trauma healing, and in less than 5 minutes, he has penetrated my bubble because he's sitting less than a foot away from me on the front porch. I'm freaking out, but I remember that I have a message for him, and so I take a deep breath, and I start to say, "Do you have any idea what you've done to my entire life? And before I can finish, he interrupts me. I'm a little pissed off about this, but he's apologizing for what he did, and that's what I came for. This interruption also gives me a chance to really take a look at this person next to me for the first time. When he was 22, he was hot, tall, dark hair, big brown eyes. That is not who's sitting next to me. This guy is bloated. He's clearly uncomfortable in his own body. And his skin has this weird gray tan color like rotten chicken. I can vaguely hear him saying something about a girl after me getting him caught, and he got fired from the police department, and his wife left him, and it ruined his life. My turn to interrupt. I was ruined at 14. Sorry. I was ruined at 14. Bad boundaries, bad relationships, failed marriages, no kids. I'm a goddamn poster child for child sex abuse, and you want to talk to me about your life being ruined? I was done. I needed to go. I got up to leave, and he begged me to stay. I'm looking down at this pitiful man. He's crying, and he's got snot running down his face. And all I can think is, oh no, you are not committing suicide because of me. You've had my back on the 50-yard line of the high school football field for 35 years. I'll be damned if you're going to spend the rest of my life on my shoulders because of your suicide. I sit back down. He goes on to tell me that he's terrified of me. He's afraid that I'm going to go to the cops or hire a lawyer. He wants to know what I want from him. In all these years that I've fantasized about this moment, I have never once thought about what my rapist could do for me, except for maybe his dick to fall off. So I said the first thing that comes to mind. Do better. Teach your daughter to be afraid of men like you. Teach your son to be a better man than you. And honestly, if you have to spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder, afraid that I'm coming after you to keep you from ever hurting another little girl ever again, I'm okay with that. Now I was really done. Time to go. I stand up to leave again, and he tries to get me to stay again. Not this time. Rob, this isn't about you. This is about me. I said what I needed to say. I got what I needed from this conversation, and now it's time for me to leave. Goodbye. My inner 14-year-old is doing this little happy dance as I turn my back to him. Whatever you do, don't look back, and do not start crying until you get in the car. I made it to the car, and I called my sister. But I wasn't crying. I was on fire. Oh my God, can you believe what I just did? I can't believe what I just did. This is the best day of my life. She convinces me to pull over. And just as I, thanks, Dee. Just as I put the car in park, the tears come. A few weeks later, Daryl texts me, "Hey, there's a dinner on Long Island. You want to go?" Hell yeah, I want to go. I go. I'm sitting around the table with Daryl and Bob, Jennifer, Danae, JC, and I'm having the best time. I'm laughing harder than I've ever laughed on Long Island. And for the first time, Long Island feels like home. And there's no place like it.